afterwards today. And if you need help going back and looking at this, you'll have the recording. So today, I really want to go ahead and jump into talking about the website. We're going to do some content training today. That means that we're going to be talking about how to update all of this verbiage that you see on our homepage. Now, our homepage is completely comprised of widgets. Widgets are what allow your website to be responsive. So this text up here is a widget. This is our main menu, or I'm sorry, our main paragraph here, which is a widget. We've got a left column and a right column. These are both separate widgets.
And then we also have separate widgets. So when you call them separate widgets, how do we know what widget they are?
I'll tell you in a minute. We're getting there. We've got your Moolah payment process, or I'm sorry, golly, this is your sponsor slideshow that you requested in your design document. So I'm going to show you how to update this, show you how to add items to your calendar, and then I'm also going to show you how to update your quick links menu. So these are all those different widgets, and just to show you when I say that they're responsive, that just means that all of these items are stacking or shrinking down, so you're not losing any of the different components. You're not losing any functionality of the site if somebody's looking at your site on a cell phone, which most people do these days. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to update all of this. The only thing that I'll ask that you do from our training today is just kind of get in here and update this home page that we're looking at right now. We're in the process of creating all of those other pages for you. So just diving in here and updating this home page will really get you some good practice and help with knowledge retention from our training today. So let's go ahead and jump in the back end so we can start looking at how you can access these different areas and how you can edit them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now by going back to the back end of our site. Now, to access any of those different pieces from your website, I'm just going to be using my website tab today. We'll begin by looking at your widgets. So we just talked about all those widgets that make up the front end of your website. Let's go ahead and begin by looking at those. So that's just my sub-menu called widgets here. Some of these items we're not going to look at today, but I'm going to go ahead and point them out to you. So I'm just going to start at number 1 and work my way from top to bottom. The member landing page, my name is widget. This is actually what your members will see once they've logged into the website. So it's just giving them a little greeting, and it'll data merge in their name on this name tag. Now this background, it may look just like a solid black bar to you guys on my screen, but it's actually supposed to be like the lapel of a pinstripe suit. If that's something that doesn't fit this association, you can send me a different image and I can update the image for you. However, the name tag, we would want to probably keep on top of that image with the data merged information. If you like the way that this looks, but you wanted to change the text that's data merged in on this name tag, you actually have the ability to change out any of this text here just by highlighting, coming to the bottom of our editor, and you'll notice there's a merge data tool. If I click on this merge data tool, it gives me any options from your members' profiles that you can merge into this name tag. So if you don't want them to see their member type, maybe that's something that you don't care for them to see, you could replace it with maybe their email, any of the attributes that you see up here. Any of those, we call these custom attributes. These items were custom from your database that you sent me, like job title, manufacturer, manufacturer rep. These are fields that are holding the information that the system will use to help calculate your members' dues and how much they owe. And then these down here at the bottom are what we would call system attributes. So these are just pieces of information that the system uses to keep track of your members' membership period. So you could also data merge in any of this information. Maybe their expiration date would be helpful. Any questions on this piece?
It's good.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna hit save. Awesome. Cool. All right. The next item that you have are your sponsor slider images. So your sponsor slider images are what's pulling into this area here. Now we're giving you a little bit of a cheat sheet, letting you know that these need to be 220 by 220. You'll notice in our example images, there's a logo in the middle and space above and below. So you may have an image that you've shrunk down to be the length of 220, but it also needs to be the height of 220. So you'd have to place it in like kind of almost like a white box that's 220 by 220 so that it's surrounded by white space above and below. You guys are probably going to be using a lot of photo editing. Do you all have a photo editor that you use right now?
Yes, but do you have one that you recommend?
I use Pixlr, Pixlr. I am not a design. Is that what you use?
Yeah. I use Pixlr Express. Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. So that's what I do to, if I ever want to create any of my, or if I'm ever creating any logos. If you guys have any that you want me to, I can resize them for you and I can kind of get them together for you if you have any that you want me to do. But you guys are more than welcome to jump in here, resize your logos if they're not sized already. And then the next step to add them to this space would just be to go into our sponsor slider images. We're always going to want to place our cursor right behind the last image that was added in. So you'll notice there's no spaces, no entering down with these images. They're just backed right up next to each other. The next step would be using our image button at the bottom of our editor. When I select this image button, it's actually going to bring up a mini media manager. There's an area in our website that you can access the media manager that's kind of just like an in-house file store. We're going to look at that once we've completed reviewing the different widgets. But I'm going to go ahead and show you just by clicking image. This is kind of like where we can see all the different files or images that you have saved. We've got different folders that you can access. I know that your logo's in the site folder. We can select our image. Of course, this is the wrong size, but if this was a 220 by 220 slider image, we would just select our image and insert the image. And at this time, we've added this image to the sponsor slideshow widget. That's all we have to do, and then we would hit save. I'm not going to save this because it would make our rotation not look so smooth and pretty because it's such a funky size, but that's the general idea of adding an image to this area. Did you have a question?
No, I hit my toe. Sorry.
Okay. So does this make sense?
Yes. Can we go back for 1 second to that image rotator part? So you see how they're 1, 2, 3 in a row? So I would just continue those in a row, just like that, right?
Exactly. It will automatically drop down to the next row. So eventually it is going to drop down to the next row for you, but you won't ever have to press enter to make it do that. It'll just do it on its own.
Okay, great. Nice function. I like that. Thank you.
Good. Of course. Awesome. All right, let's rock and roll to our next widget. So we've got homepage main, homepage left, and homepage right. So these areas are feeding to homepage main, homepage left, and homepage right. So those are pretty easy peasy. If we wanted to edit the text that were inside of those 3 different widget areas, which I'd love for you guys to do, to just jump in the system and do that, you're just going to come right to this widgets area, click on the widget that you're wanting to update. So let's do homepage main. And then you will literally just type in this editor as if you were typing in a Word document. You guys probably have experience working in a Joomla-based editor. That's what our editor is based on, so it'll probably feel very familiar. There are some items that are unique to member clicks, and I'll discuss those with you a little bit later in our training. But for right now, I just wanted to point out that this text is what's feeding into your homepage name. And then we have homepage left and right. So it would be as simple as if we didn't want this paragraph anymore, we would just delete it out. We can apply it, come back over to our homepage, see how it looks. It's gone. We may be happy with it, so then we can just hit save, and it's going to bring us back to that main page of our widget manager. Any questions on those 3? They're pretty straightforward.
Nope. Good.
Okay.
So you want to
awesome.
split, you You want to preview it, then save it, then publish it.
You don't have to preview it. The difference between applying and save, if you are continuing to work on an article or a widget and you want to see how the changes are reflected, but you're still working on it to kind of get it just right, what I like to do is you can keep the widget up. So there was an extra space down here I can delete out. I can hit apply, and it's going to keep me on this page, but it's still going to save the changes on the front end. So I can refresh my page. Okay, cool, that space is gone now. You know what, I want to add a paragraph. I forgot that I wanted to add a paragraph. I'm going to save that. I'm going to hit apply, come back to the front end. Okay, good. Now this looks perfect. Now I'm ready to go back to my widget manager. So the only difference between save and apply keeps you on this page, but applies the changes. Save applies the changes, but also takes you back to the main widget manager. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome. All right. Hero content. So the image that you have at the top of our site, we call this our hero image. The text that you see on top of this hero image is called hero content. So if we wanted to edit this text, we could just go to our hero content widget. Maybe we wanted to add in something like BSA rocks. And if I hit apply, same concept, right, between apply and save, but yes. Well, let's see here. Heading 3 is what allows this, I think, to be white. Let me check. There we go. So heading 3 will automatically make this text white in this space. This button that you see here, a lot of times this is linked to your membership application, so Get Tickets Today probably wouldn't apply to you guys unless you had a big convention coming up or something, but you could say join today. I see that a good bit. I'm going to show you guys in a little bit how to create these buttons. It looks a little bit different on the back end. It's just red the way that you see it here for the hero image. It's just red that way in this area only. Any questions on this hero content area?
Nope, not so far. I look forward to making those tables the Get Tickets Today square. Because in YM it's really difficult. So, and I know that membership is a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We'll get to that little piece in just a little bit. All right, footer info. We're almost through our widgets here. Footer info. That's just feeding down here at the bottom. If you guys want to go ahead and update this footer text, that would be awesome. Just throw in. You can put in your address. If you wanted to add in the association name and a phone number, maybe an email address, or you really wouldn't need to put a website, but I have some associations who do that. So we would just go into our footer info, same thing, you're just going to edit like we've been editing throughout our editor so far. The last 2 items, custom login page content lower half and top half. You will probably not use this. I'd say 99% of my associations don't, but let's say that you guys, a member comes to your website and they're going to click member login. This is going to bring them to a login area where they'll add their username and password. So member login page content lower half and top half feeds to the top half of this login area and the lower half of this login area. On the occasion, I see my associations will say something like, not a member, ? Join today by taking our membership application and receive the following benefits. And they'll link their membership application here. Or they'll say, make sure you apply for our annual convention. So sometimes they'll use this area to highlight different items that are going on or to kind of reemphasize the membership application. But for the most part, I don't see this area messed with very often. Any questions on that?
Nope, all good.
Okay, awesome. All right. So those are all of our widgets. I did mention briefly when I was showing you guys how to add in a sponsor image to the sponsor slider images widget. I talked a little bit about a media manager. I want to go ahead and show you guys where that's located now and how you can save images or documents inside of the media manager. So if I hover back over my website tab, I can go right to our media manager submenu. And this, once again, is just that in-house file store. So you'll save all of the documents that you guys have. You'll save all of the images that you may want to add to any of the member clicks articles or the front end of the website. You'll add them into this media manager area. So you won't be able to copy and paste images just directly into any of our articles. You'll have to first save them here. We've already split this up into a couple of different folders for you guys, but you can add as many folders as you want to just to help create some additional organization. So if we click on the documents folder, if we click on our documents folder, you may have some updated documents that you want to add to the site. So we could call this 2018 docs. Notice that I used an underscore instead of a space. We cannot add any spaces to our file names. I'm going to select create folder, and now we have kind of like that second level of organization in the site for you. So I could click into our 2018 docs folder if I wanted to add something in here. I'm just going to use my upload button at the bottom of the editor. And we're going to choose the item that we want to add. So I'm going to put in your Go Live checklist. So now we would be able to create an internal link anywhere within our site to the Go Live checklist. This is pretty straightforward. I'm sure you guys have used something similar like this in the past. Any questions on the Media Manager?
Not yet. Just how to grab the link would be really helpful to put somewhere on the site.
How to add items from the Media Manager to the site?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So we're going to look at we're going to create an article. I'm going to see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about first. We're actually going to do that next, and I'll show you guys how you can create internal and external links within those articles, how we can pull in the documents, how we can pull in images. So we'll go through all of that in just a moment. But saving in here, and like I mentioned, you guys can create additional folders. The one thing that I ask that you do not do in the Media Manager, doesn't happen often, but from time to time, I have an association who will delete things, like delete the site folder or delete some of these items out of the site folder. Leave the site folder as it is. This is really what our designers have used to create your site. And if they ever need to make changes, they'll want to get in here and they'll want it to feel a little familiar. So this will help them out. I also want to mention, if you guys ever wanted to change that hero image on your website, you guys can do that. Any image that you add to the site folder that's called hero.jpg, so just a JPEG image, notice this one. If you deleted this out and saved a new image called hero.jpg, this is going to be what will become that hero image. So it's that easy for you guys to change. The images just have to be 2000 by 400. Other than that, we're kind of that's about all our Media Manager is being used for. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. Before I do so, any questions?
Nope.
Nope, all good. Thanks.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to hover back over my website tab. And now we've gone over our widgets. We've talked about our Media Manager. We're going to create a new article together. An article is just what we call a page of content, or just like a page of verbiage or page of text. So we're going to go ahead and go to our article submenu here. Now, right now we only have 2 articles that are created in your website for you, but once my designer's done, all of the different articles from your previous site will be created and added in this area. If you wanted to create a new article, you'll just use the new plus sign up here in the top right hand corner. Now we've got a lot of icons up here, but the ones that you'll be using most often are this new plus sign, which we're about to use. You could tag an article and move it to trash. If you didn't mean to move it to trash, you can always view your trash and restore it. You also have the ability to publish and unpublish. So if you're working on making changes to an article, you may want to unpublish it from your website so you can make those changes without people seeing those changes live as you're trying to get it to look this right. I'm going to go ahead and select new, and I'm going to name this article. So I'm just going to name this members only. For our example, we'll create like a page of content that would be for members only. Now you'll notice once I put in my title, the alias auto-populates. The alias is what creates the second half of your web address for this particular page. So if I typed in bsa.memberclicks.net/members-only, it would take me directly to this page. So I mentioned earlier, this editor probably looks very familiar to you guys. Most of these icons, I'm sure you've seen: bolding, italicizing, underlining, strike throughs, the different alignment options. You can also change the color of your font. You can also highlight fonts. You can change your font family. You can change your font size. My recommendation to you guys, though, is to not use any of these items. And the reason why is because we have some pre-formatted fonts for you underneath this formatted font area, this drop down. I would recommend sticking with using these as much as possible, especially for headers on your website, for two reasons. One, consistency. It'll make it really easy for you guys to make sure that your pages are looking consistent on your site. The second reason, which I think is really cool, is if you guys went through a rebranding, or if you wanted to change up your site, just to kind of freshen it up, you could send us the new colors. We would apply that to those formatted fonts, and anywhere that you use them in the site, it would auto-populate. So it's almost like you'd have a brand new site overnight. So I think that's kind of a plus. Okay. All right. Now, I showed you guys how to insert an image in just a moment ago. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to insert an image once again in this area. So to do that, to insert an image, I'm just going to place my cursor wherever I want the image to populate. I'm going to come to the bottom of my editor and choose that image button again. So once again, selecting image is going to pull up a mini media manager. Any images that you've saved in any of the folders within the site, you'll be able to find in this area. So I'm going to go ahead and use my drop down. Once again, I know that your logo is in your site folder, so I'm just going to jump in there. I'm going to grab your logo. So I've clicked on your logo and I'm inserting this image. Now, you may not love the size of the image, the relationship of the image to the text, maybe some things you want to change. To change the appearance of your image, we're going to click on the image, which highlights it. Then I'm going to come to the top of my editor and choose this little tree icon. So it's already highlighted for us to kind of give us a little bit of a head start to figure out where we need to go. I'm clicking on this tree icon, and I'm going to go to my Appearance tab. Once again, we're changing the appearance of our image, so we're using our Appearance tab. Now, if you forget everything I'm about to talk to you guys about, it's okay, because there's a little example over here to the right that will show you exactly what we're doing to the image and the relationship of the image to the text. So that's this little square over here. I'm going to begin by changing the alignment of my image to my text. So alignment just means how is the text aligning with my image. I always like to use left, which is going to push my image to the left and wrap my text top to bottom. The next thing that I can do is change the dimensions or the size of my image. This is measured in pixels. We always want to make sure that we're constraining the proportions of my image. That's this checkbox here, because I do not know what the second dimension of your image needs to be to make sure it's not skewed or stretched. So I'm just going to constrain proportions, and the system's going to autofill that second dimension for us based on the proportions of your image. The next couple of items is vertical and horizontal space. Notice the space below my image and to the side of my image. By adding vertical space, we've created that space barrier, like a space cushion, so that the text isn't backing right up to the image. This is also measured in pixels. So now we've got that nice border around our image. And then the last item that we can do in here is actually add just a very simple black border to our image. To do that, I'm just going to put same thing as 3 pixels worth of just a very thin black border. We can't change the color of the border or anything like that. So now we've got our border around our image, and I'm going to update and hit OK. And now you guys will see it's pushed my image to the left. We've got the space between my image and the text. The text starts at the top of the image. We have a border around our image, and the image is a little bit smaller. Any questions on inserting images or changing their appearance?
It's on the same lines as this. So we don't need to create a table for the page and automatically be mobile ready. Is that correct?
I think I got your question. You said you don't have to create a table?
Right. For each page like this, each article?
No, because you guys are coming from YM, isn't that right?
Yes.
Yes, and I from what I understand, I think Becca's told me this in the past, that on YM you have to create a table for every single page.
Right.
Or
we
something
don't
like,
anymore.
Yeah. No
Okay.
more. In fact, I would tell you guys, best practice is to not use tables in our editor. All of these buttons that you see through here that are grayed out right now, those are for tables. And you could add tables because I'm sure you're accustomed to using them. However, tables are not by nature, they're not by nature responsive. So your site looks awesome and it's easy to navigate, and then all of a sudden somebody gets to a page with a table in it and they're scrolling all over the land to see what they need to see in the table. And that's just not a best practice. There are some things that you can do to tables to make them responsive. It's just tricky, and to me it's too much work. So I would suggest not using tables. But we do have the ability for you to if you need to.
Okay, great.
Okay,
For the good
awesome. Yeah, I would not enjoy working in tables all the time. Yeah, I would not like that. All right, awesome. So the next thing that I want to show you guys is just a couple more things here. How to create external and internal links. So I'm going to go ahead and start by typing out my text, external link. So if I wanted to link this up to something external, meaning outside of MemberClicks, I'm going to highlight my text. And we're going to come to the top of my editor and choose this little tiny link icon. This little link icon will allow me to put in a URL to create that external link. So I'm choosing it. We can link back to your home page. And then when I create external links, I like to have this open in a new tab so that your member isn't navigated completely away from your site. So I just use my target, open in a new window, and then insert. So similar, but a little different. If we wanted to create an internal link, I'm going to highlight my text. But instead of going to the top of my editor, I'm actually going to drop down to the bottom of my editor. Site link is what we're going to be selecting because we're creating a site link. And this is kind of bringing up a media manager, but it's also allowing us to choose any of the articles created in the site, any of the community items, menu items that have been created, forms, files. We can link to anything in here. Now, earlier, I saved the Go Live checklist in a 2018 docs folder I created for you. So I found that under my files. I'm going to go into that 2018 docs folder, and there's that Go Live checklist. All I have to do is click on the file that we want to link up and insert this link. And that's all that we had to do. Any questions on that process?
I'm good. Paul, you good?
Okay, awesome.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
Awesome. All right, so just to show you guys one more little magic trick that we can do in here. Anytime we've created an external or an internal link, it doesn't matter which one. If we re-highlight our text, we can apply, go back to those formatted fonts again, and we're going to apply the one at the very bottom, heading 6. Applying heading 6 creates that button for us. That's all we have to do. All right, now there are a couple other things in here that I like to use. Some of my favorite icons. The back button, that seems silly, but it's a huge benefit to me. If you guys know any HTML, we do have an HTML editor that you can play around in. And then we do have a spell check icon. I do want to note here, in order for spell check to apply, you have to highlight the text you want to apply it to and then click on the icon. It is not applied automatically. Okay. That is everything that I'm going to review with you guys today on our editor. Those are going to be the majority of the buttons that you're using or the icons that you're using. Before I move forward, do you guys have any questions on any of these items or anything I need to repeat, because I know it's probably a little loud behind me? We're good?
We're good.
All right, cool. So after we've created our article, before we save our article, we want to set our group access. Group access is determining who gets to see this article. So for our example, we've created this for members only. So I'm going to tag all of our members, but untag prospects and public. This will allow any of your other members to see it, but if your prospects and public try to go to this page, they're going to get a login area and say, you don't have permission to see this unless you log in, or some verbiage is very similar to that, a little bit nicer. Once we've set our group access or determined who gets to see the article, we're going to click save, and that's going to save our article and take us back to the article manager. All right, so just because we've created the article doesn't mean that it's live on the website yet. So the second step to this is actually adding it to a menu item. It's going to feel a little bit like Groundhog Day because it's very similar, but the second step is crucial if you want to make this live on your site. So I'm going to hover over the website tab again, but this time we're actually going to go to menu items. Now you guys have 4 different menu items located on your website. Main menu, social network menu, member menu, and quick links menu. To show you where these different menus are reflected, I'm just going to go back to the home page. And we've got our main menu across the top. We've got our quick links menu over here on the side. Down at the very bottom, these icons are your social networking menus. And then your member menu is located on the member landing page, which we're going to look at when we get to our social community training. If I wanted to add an item up here at the top to our main menu, I'm just going to select main menu. Now, over time, this is going to look like, if you guys remember doing outlines of papers, this will kind of look like the outline of a paper. It'll show you exactly how the menu is ordered. I'm going to use the same plus icon that I used to create a new article, but this time we're going to create a new menu item, so I'm selecting new. This step is asking us what type of menu item are you creating? Is this going to link to an article? In our case, yes. So we're going to be using our article content. There's a lot of options, but the only item you'll ever use here is single article. So I'm just going to choose single article. You can also link to any of your database items, any forms. So once forms are created, you'll be able to link directly to forms like your membership application. And then last, you can also link to external links. You could link directly to an external link. So we're going to go ahead and choose single article. All right, and we're at our last step here. We want to name our menu item. This is what your members will see or the public will see. This is the menu item name that they will see. I like to name my menus and articles the same thing because it makes sense organizationally for me. So I'm going to call this members only. The second item that I'll need to do is choose where I want this menu item located. If I want it to be at the top of the main menu, just a new main menu option, I'm going to highlight top, which is highlighted now. If I wanted to create a secondary menu, I'm going to highlight one of the main menu items. We only have home as a main menu item, so I can highlight home. If I wanted to create a tertiary menu item, I'm going to highlight one of my secondary menu items, which you see we already have two here for an example for y'all. I can highlight the second level menu item too, and it'll create this third level menu item. For our example, I'm just going to highlight the top so you guys can see how to create a main menu item. Now, it seems like there's a lot to do on this page, so I'm just going to continue to work my way. I always start at the very top of every page in the top left-hand corner, work my way down the column, and then start in the top right-hand corner. So we did our title, our alias auto-populated. Once again, that alias determines the web address for this particular menu item. We determine where this was going to show up on our menu. Yes, we want it published. If we want this to open in a new window, we can tell the system to do so, but since this is in member clicks, I personally don't like it when every time I click on something in a website, there's a new tab that's open. That drives me crazy, so I'm going to leave the parent window with browser navigation tagged or highlighted. Group access, once again, that's who gets to see this item. And then the last thing that we need to do is tell the system, okay, we're creating a menu item, we're calling it members only, it's linking to an article. This is going to tell the system what article is going to pop up once they click on that button. So I'm going to choose the members only article. And at this point, we can save. I'm going to go back to my home tab. I can refresh, and there's our members only item. I'm going to click on my members only item to show you the article that I created, and here it is. Okay. So there were a lot of clicks on that, but hopefully you guys followed okay. Any questions on that process?
No, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome, wonderful.
Good.
I feel like the content's pretty intuitive, but there are a lot of clicks. So anyways, this recording will really be helpful for you guys as you go back through.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, awesome. Well,
I do have one question. So like, to make this as streamlined as possible, do you recommend making all of those article pages first and then linking them just to make it speed of efficiencies? Like say if I'm making a lot of subpages or articles, and I want to link them to the menu manager, do you recommend doing all of those first, like all the article pages first and then link them?
If your brain thinks that way, absolutely. My brain is a one-track mind kind of brain. So when I'm creating articles for clients, I always have to save my stuff in the media manager, and then I have to start creating my article and then link it to the menu item. That's just how my brain works. But if you can kind of do it in mass like that and kind of get each thing done at a time, that would absolutely be probably the most efficient way to do it. One little tip that I can give you. So let's back up for just a second. I'm going to go into that article. Let's say that you were in your article and you wanted to link to a document and you go, oh crap, I forgot to put that document in the media manager. You don't necessarily have to go back to the media manager to add it. So I could say, I'm just going to say example. If you've highlighted your text and come to the bottom of the editor and choose site links, you can do this for images as well. If there's a file that you need to grab, you can choose the folder that you want the image saved in, and you'll notice there's a green button right here that says upload a file into the current folder. My cursor's hovering over it. You can just select this and choose the file from your computer from here and save it directly into the folder from this area. So you don't necessarily have to be saving all those items in your media manager and then come to this part. You can do it right from the page that you're on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's really helpful. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a little bit of a higher level thing that I like to mention, but I think that you guys got the training pretty. I think you're getting it. I think you're fine. Awesome. Well, golly, we only have about 4 minutes left. I want to go ahead and get some additional time on our calendar for this next
We
week
booked
because I am
all of
good.
them.
Did we already schedule all of them? Oh, we did.
Yep.
Oh, we rock. We're on top of our game. Cool. Awesome. Well, I am going to be, I will have my email on me next week. My Wi-Fi is going to be spotty, and my schedule's going to be a little bit weird with driving and all that crazy stuff. But I definitely will be checking my email for a couple of hours at least each day and getting back to everything. So if you guys run into a question or you get stuck somewhere while you're working through content, just let me know, and I'll get back to you as fast as I can. Okay?
That sounds great. And then we just need the law essentials so we can dive in.
Absolutely. I've got a call here at 12, but I'll get those to you definitely before I call it a day today. I'll get those to you right after my 12 o'clock call. All right? Anything else I can do for y'all? Okay.
That'll do.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you week after next. Y'all let me know if you need anything at all. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.